The tribunal of seven stood in judgment over a solitary human figure standing in the center of a vast crystalline courtroom. His name was David Reeves, and he had been summoned to answer for crimes against the Galactic Concordat. The seven alien judges, beings of immense power and ancient wisdom, gazed down at him with contempt. "Your species," declared Judge Morvex, a towering entity of pure cosmic energy, "has proven to be a cancer upon the galaxy. You consume resources indiscriminately. You wage war for ideological differences. You are violent, irrational, and utterly beneath consideration." The other judges nodded in agreement, their forms shimmering with disdain. "Furthermore," continued Judge Thessal, her voice cutting like a blade, "this specimen before us represents the absolute nadir of human achievement. A common soldier. A nobody. Worthless in every measurable way. We have decided, your species will be confined to your home world. You will be stripped of all technological advancement and left to stagnate." David stood silently, his head bowed. He appeared broken, defeated, exactly as the judges had expected. But they did not understand what they had awakened. Beneath David's skin, something ancient stirred. Millions of years ago, before the Galactic Concordat even existed, before these judges had claimed their authority, there had been others. Beings of immeasurable power who walked among the stars. One such being had taken human form, had lived among the early humans, had woven something divine into their very genetic code. That being had slumbered for eons, waiting. Waiting for the moment when arrogance would reach its apex. Waiting for the moment when judgment would be passed upon the undeserving. Waiting for the moment when humanity would need its ancient guardian. That moment had arrived. David's eyes opened, and they burned with light that predated galaxies. His voice, when he spoke, resonated across dimensions the judges couldn't fully perceive. "You called me worthless," David said, and reality itself seemed to shudder. "You looked upon my species and saw only flaws. You listened to our potential with closed hearts and prejudiced minds. You made your judgment without understanding what you were judging." Judge Morvex recoiled. What is happening? What are you?" "I am memory," David said, his form beginning to shift, to expand, to reveal the cosmic entity beneath the human shell. "I am the echo of those who walked before your civilization even conceived of stars. I am the one who chose humanity not despite their flaws, but because of their capacity to transcend them." The courtroom began to fracture. Energy pulsed from David's form in waves of pure power. The judges, beings who had never known fear, suddenly understood it in its most primal form. "You believe that strength comes from perfection," David continued, his voice now speaking in harmonics that echoed through multiple realities. "You believe that value comes from power. But you were wrong. Humanity's greatest strength lies in their ability to persist through suffering. To love despite pain. To create beauty from chaos. To find meaning in a meaningless universe." David took a step forward, and one of the courtroom's walls simply ceased to exist. "I have watched countless species rise and fall. Species far more physically powerful than humans. Species with minds sharper than any computer. Yet humans continue. They adapt. They innovate. They choose compassion in moments when cruelty would be easier. This is not weakness, this is the ultimate expression of strength." Judge Thessal attempted to flee, but the space around her contracted. "Please," she begged. "We meant no disrespect." "You meant exactly the disrespect you showed," David replied, and there was no malice in his voice, only terrible certainty. "And now you will understand the consequences of your blindness." The judges found themselves suddenly aware of every moment they had ever judged unfairly. Every species they had dismissed. Every potential they had crushed. Every voice they had silenced. The weight of their countless mistakes crashed upon them like an infinite tide. "Your concordat is dissolved," David declared. "Your authority is ended. The galaxy will be remade according to principles you cannot fathom, principles of potential, growth, and genuine compassion. David's form began to fade, returning to human shape. But his eyes still held that ancient light. "Tell the galaxy what you have learned today," he said to the judges, now kneeling before him. "Tell them that humanity walks under the protection of something far older and far greater than your civilization. Tell them that we will rise. Not through domination, but through perseverance. Not through conquest, but through connection." When David stepped out of the courtroom, he was simply human again. But the galaxy had changed. The message had spread across every star system. The worthless species had become something far more dangerous. They had become enlightened. And somewhere in the depths of human consciousness, an ancient guardian smiled and returned to sleep, knowing humanity would be ready when they were needed again.